All right, so yeah, let's try to understand the MVP. So Adebola, maybe you can do a quick run through. You can read this so that the others can hear you. Let's understand the value proposition and also outline the features that we are going to work on. All right.
So okay, good evening, everyone. Yes, sorry, I'm here.
Okay.
So the value proposition under the MVP is basically to, in one sentence, highlight the value that we're bringing to the table for the user. So basically, what value is the application? It answers the question of the value that the application is providing for the user. So what we did here is to try and streamline all the English I've been speaking about the app in a single sentence that is easy, simple, and then talks to the who we are speaking to, why and what we're doing for the user. So I think what we settled for, I just wrote the three, we're still brainstorming on it yesterday. So I was writing brainstorming. So I think the one we're settling for last is the last sentence. We're making the medical booking process easy and mobile.
Okay. So the last sentence there is actually more like a tagline, right? So let's assume you're asked, what is Medbookly? The first sentence there would, define Medbookly, right? It's an app. It's basically an app or a platform that helps users to book and manage medical appointments in Nigeria, because that's the target market for now. And, you can go further to say it's a platform that makes it easy for users to book and manage medical appointments, which is, of course, similar to the first thing I said. And, the tagline here is, okay, we're making the medical booking process easy and mobile, right? Which means, we're of course simplifying it, and we're making it easy, or making it mobile, or making it fast, right? So any of these options can work. I think we can stick to the first and the second option, and we can take off this because this is kind of like a repetition. So okay. I just did that. All right, so maybe you can talk about the features, right?
A bit, but you're explaining them very fast.
Yeah.
You might still need to go through it again. So the features, we're trying to kind of to extract the features using the MSCW framework to highlight the must-haves, the could-haves, the should-haves, and then the won't-have features on it. But we're only able to really do the must-have. So these are the features that they're very critical they're very critical, and they must be there. Else, I mean, the application is as good as not usable if they're not there. So these were the ones we highlighted yesterday. We'll have medical booking, authentication, authorization, activity tracking, profile, and then specialist feature. Then Marv will help us to expatiate more on each one. And then, of course, we're now going to break each feature into
sprints.
Into sprints, yes. So each feature will be broken, and then a workflow will now be described for each feature. So I think we're going to agree the feature that we'll develop the workflow for.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so basically, yesterday I could not, join with my laptop, so I was unable to really work on the documents. But now that you guys can see my screen, I think I can actually, work on these documents, and you can see. So ideally, in some organizations, you would have the team list out the entire, set of features, right? And those set of features are basically the ones they would come up with after aggregating and making decisions on the feedback that was collected from the research and from the interview, right? So I was discussing with Amaka, and I figured out that we've conducted this research. We have this set of items listed out somewhere, but for some reasons, I don't know. I think the UI UX team probably did not send over the feedback to the PM guys. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened there, but the idea of the interview was not to have those feedback sitting somewhere and idle. The idea is to come up with those feedback, aggregate them. And when I say aggregate, let me try to break that down. What I mean is we bring out, let's say we interviewed Amaka, we interviewed Emanuela. Amaka said she wants booking with feature A, and Emanuela said she wants booking with feature B. So for example, I learned that someone said when they are booking, they wanted to, they also would like to put in the symptoms that they are also experiencing so that it will be easier for the medical practitioner when they get to the site. I think that's a good idea, but you can imagine that's something that one person brought up. Imagine you have 10 people that, mention this thing. Out of, let's say out of 15 interviews, 10 people said the same thing. It shows that, okay, this is, highly requested for, right? This is something that a lot of people looking at the ratio, they probably want to have this kind of feature, right? So that's something you will definitely consider. And now I'm working with the ratio of 15 people and you have 10 people. Imagine you interview 100 people and then you have like 80 people request for this. Of course, we're saying the same thing now. That kind of feedback has to be handed over to the PM. Of course, it's a collaboration, right? So the PM and the UI UX folks, and you look at this data, you list these items out, they will finally make a decision on the MVP based on the most requested, set of features. So I think someone dropped a message in the chat. So it said basically building for the 70% of the, yeah, very correct, Bendex. Because I mean, you are of course building for them. So that's something that we are ought to do. And yeah, so now we have this set of features. I'm simply going to explain. I'm not going to go through the framework again, talking about the must-haves, the could-haves, and the would-haves. But in some scenarios, you would that is the way it will be structured in a document, maybe sometimes in a spreadsheet, right? So I was hoping I was thinking I have a sample of a spreadsheet with such arrangements, but I don't have that on this computer. But of course, I think we can talk about that in some other sessions. So now that we have the must-haves, what I want us to do is to come up with a workflow. Of course, we have to pick a specific sprint here, a specific item, and come up with a workflow. But we are still going to have, like a more formal sprint where everyone will be able to, converse and talk about the steps, right? And when we get to that stage, I'm just going to give like an overview, but when we get to that stage, the UI UX team will be very active to understand and to, help us out with the user journey map, based on their experience and, what they think the specific workflow should look like, right? Or the journey map of the user the journey of the user should look like. And, I think someone also asked me this yesterday, and I was trying to make the person understand that when we say journey map is basically referring to, the steps, right? The journey, and the journey map is tied to what we refer to as actions, right? So a user journey is tied to an action. And a quick example, a user wants to create an account, that's an action. The user wants to delete their account, right? They want to, make booking. They want to book, right? That's an action. They want to cancel the booking. That's an action. They probably want to, maybe update the details, within the booking. That's also an action. So you see, you have a lot of actions. So we have to determine the set of actions that are required, that are important. These are the features, right? But within these features, you really have to determine the set of actions. So for example, we have specialist feature. What exactly do we mean by specialist feature, right? The hospital should be able to create a specialist, update a specialist record, delete a specialist, maybe if the specialist no longer work with them, right? So I've mentioned three. I don't know, you might have something like transfer a specialist, but of course we're not doing that. Looking at our MVP, creating a specialist is important. Maybe updating their record is also important. Deleting a specialist record is important, but for the first launch might not be very important. Looking at it, it seems like it's a very important feature. And I can tell you, I have seen platforms where, after the launch, maybe after the first 1, 2, 3 months, they are yet to implement a feature for users to delete their record. And I'm sure you might have had similar experience. But the point I'm trying to pass here is it is possible to list out the most important set of actions that can be taken on a specific feature. And we'll talk about that as well. So someone said disable and enable. Very correct, right? So I think Adebola said we have extracted the pain points. And sorry, excuse me. All right, yeah. So sorry about that. Yeah, there was a knock on my door. Sorry about that. So yeah, so Adebola said we have extracted the pain points and features from the interview feedbacks. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Okay, that means what I was told was wrong then. Okay, so Adebola, did you extract these pain points? Did you work on this document based on the pain points?
No. So what my thinking was that we're just going to include the features that came up into the features on the PRD. I wasn't sure how we're going to go about it, so I thought I would bring it up during this session. Because after I had collated all the feedbacks from the pain points and the features, right? The three features actually were most suggested. They came up the more. One is like the one you mentioned earlier, a section for them to fill out their symptoms so that users can be assigned to the right doctor. Another one is information about the doctor before visiting the hospital. And then one is also an option to talk or to chat to the doctor. So those three features actually appeared the most from all the feedbacks.
Oh, okay. Okay, so do you have like a document or a spreadsheet where you put in those data? You know, like the person that requested for that and you know the request as well. Do you have like a spreadsheet or do you have like a document? Why the
So I was supposed to
explanation?
put their name, and because okay, so like at our stand up this morning, what I just told my team members was like they should just extract, each team lead should extract the pain points and the suggested features from their interviews and just put them in a tabular form. I just told them there was no need to put the name of the I didn't think we needed the name of the interviewer since it was
Okay,
only the
so
feedback that was
yeah,
required.
yeah, yeah. So we don't need the names for this our session, right? But let's assume, let's just imagine that maybe in the next 1, 2, 3 months, we're trying to also make reference to this. It's a good idea to have those details, right? I mean, data is very important and you must try as much as possible not to lose data. Because the moment we continue without those details, I bet you in the next 4 months, you are going to, you know, just have like, you are just going to say, this is the feedback, but you don't even know who gave this feedback, right? You don't have any track. So since you extracted the main data that is needed for the session, it's fine. But you know, if you can have those details stored somewhere, you know, like the record of the person that was interviewed and their feedback. And I think that that particular job is for the UI UX guys to do. So Amaka, I'm sure you understand what I mean. Amaka, are you there? Okay, so Chika said they will include it, but you know, I think the UI UX.
Sorry
I don't
about
know.
that.
Amaka, I
That was
can't hear
me.
you. Okay, no
Can you
problem.
hear
So
me?
I can hear you now.
Yes.
Oh, all right. I said, all right. That yes, I understand what to do.
Okay,
Okay. So
so what we should go back and do now is include the details of the specific people that made that requested for those features.
yes. So there's something that they call user personas. I don't know. I think you should know that as well. So you're supposed to have those details stored somewhere, not just on a design, but you know, on a document or maybe on a spreadsheet. And it's always preferred to work with a spreadsheet because then you can really extract that data and work with data later. So on a spreadsheet, the name, you know, the feedback or the pain points, you know, every other detail you have collected, you should have it in a tabular form, and you know that spreadsheet file should be saved somewhere for you know future references. But I think you can do that later. Right now that we have this set of features, let's just concentrate and focus on this. Okay, so authentication, authentication. So yeah, so the first item we have here, let's leave it this way. So the first item we have here is medical booking, which is you know the most important feature, right? Medical booking. Of course, on every system, you should also consider authentication and authorization, which basically, you know, I would put them as, you know, security. In bracket, I will say authentication and authorization. So both of them can be implemented as a single sprint, right? You don't have to separate them. So the medical booking feature is basically the feature, you know, that would aid, you know, booking, right? A user is able to, of course, create an account, and after creating their account, you know, the booking feature there is you probably, you know, have a set of steps that you have to click and, you know, probably select a date, select a time. Your detail is automatically collected from your profile and appended to that set of the set of record, which is date and time. And maybe you also want to add a complaint or your symptoms or some certain details that you want the specialist to understand before you get there. And then finally, probably selecting the specialist, right? Maybe you have like a list of specialists that you have to select from. So the idea question here is, okay, are they going to select the specialist before putting more details, or do they want to first put all the necessary details, date and time before selecting the specialist? So that is left for the UI UX guys to let us know, because that is about the experience, right? So that's the experience that they have to create and let us know which one works best. But yeah, so that is the feature for the medical booking. For the security, we're looking at authentication, which is sign in, sign up, and also verifying, like which user is making this request, which user is submitting this record. We should be able to have pages where the users, or the users will be able to create a new account, sign in, check for their forgotten password, right? And yeah, I think that's those are the most important set of authentication details. And also authorization is basically referring to roles, right? So for example, the super admin, or the person handling the service on the back end, the user who happens to be the patient, and also the admins at the hospital. So I think we can come up with a name for that. These are different set of users, right? Ideally, everyone creates a single type of account, which is a default user account. Then they have to, and this was based on our conversation yesterday. So if someone thinks it's not a good idea, please let us know. So a user would come, let's assume, I work for a hospital and I am the admin, and I want to create, a new, what was the term we gave? I think we called it a medical facility, right? I want to create a new facility. So I mean, that term might not be the best, right? I can actually come to the platform, then I create a new account, and I'm giving a regular account. And then I have a button or a toggle that I can use to create a facility, which means any user should be able to create a facility. Creating a facility is not the problem. It's not the main thing. The main thing is approving the facility, right? So after creating the facility, we ask you for some certain details, and then you send that across to us. So on the back end, you have a set of people that would go out there to vet and verify these records, just to be sure that the facility is actually a verified facility, in that specific region. So you ask for those details that are necessary to do the vetting, and after collecting these details, you verify these details, and if they are verified, or if the verification was successful, you automatically activate the new account, right? So you automatically activate the new account. If it was not successful, you can also send a feedback, like a message telling them that so authorization is like sign in, sign off the molar. So you let them know that the facility was not verified due to probably some KYC issues, right? So we could not verify your documents, or maybe your document has expired. So if you have used Flutterwave or Paystack, you might understand what I'm trying to talk about. For example, on these platforms, you can create multiple, businesses, right? You have a single account, but you can create multiple businesses, and those businesses are, created by that single account, and you can have the platform verify those businesses after uploading your business registration documents and all that. So they have a process for verifying these documents, and that's the same workflow that we're trying to work with. All right. So you don't have multiple pages for admins in the hospital to create their own account, and then regular users to create their own account. Everybody creates an account from one single page, and then you can choose to create a facility, right? And wait for approval. Now, authorization is just that feature for knowing who is doing what, and what this specific person should be able to do. So a regular user should not be able to see a table of some vital detail. So a regular user should not be able to see bookings, for example, like other people's bookings. They should be able to see only their booking history, right? Which is what we are going to be implementing in the activity booking, or I think I would call that the booking activity. All right, activity. Okay, so a regular user should not be able to see the bookings from other users. They should only be able to see their own booking. And an admin in a particular hospital should not be able to see the booking, for another hospital, right? And I'm using the hospital here, but basically it's generally medical facilities. So an admin in hospital 1 should not be able to see the bookings in a different clinic or hospital or whatever you call it. So you have to implement this authorization, talk about roles, a different level of roles and what they should be able to do, right? So we're going to be implementing that in the authorization. For the booking activity, so we're going to implement it in such a way that it can be extended. But the idea of booking activity is that every user should be able to have a simple dashboard that would show the list of activities that they've performed, especially when it comes to booking. So if I've booked 3 times, I should be able to see those records with the dates, right? And yeah, I don't know if maybe we would want to add rebook. I don't know, maybe rebook so that you can, the process will be faster. You are rebooking for that specific doctor, and you don't have to, I mean, the record is going to be populated automatically. So you don't have to enter those details again, you just rebook. Yeah, so I think that's something we can also do. Yeah, I think so the question someone asked me, Demola said, the authorization is like sign in and sign up. So no, that is, authentication, Demola. I think I made a mistake there. That is authentication, creating an account, then signing in, right? When you create an account and you try to sign in. Now we are authenticating, who is this person? That's authentication, right? Then authorization is, okay, what can this person do, right? So who are you means authentication. Then what can you do, or what are the roles? What are the things you can perform here? That is authorization. All right. So yeah. So after booking activity, we have the profile. Profile is maybe of course we need more details about the user. So when you create an account, we only need your email and password, right? Yeah, just to make it easy for you. So we just need email and password. And after creating the account, we'll give you the profile page. You have to set up your profile at least to a specific standard before we can, allow you to even book. Okay, so your profile has to be set up to a specific standard. Now we have, I think this should be, let's try to arrange this. So profile is a very important feature. And I think it should come in after authentication and authorization. So I also think the medical booking should move down one step. Okay, so medical booking, then booking activity, then the specialist feature. So so when you create a facility, after creating the facility, you automatically become the admin of that facility once the facility has been approved, right? So as an admin of a facility, I should be able to add the specialists that work under my facility. So it can be, the doctors. I don't know. I think if we have other, I'm not really familiar with the medical space, but I'm going to just stick to doctors. So let's say the doctors. So you can register the doctors under your facility, and then put their specializations, what they are really good at. Yeah, I think that's yeah. So you put those details, what they can do or what they are known for, within that hospital. So when someone see their record, you can click on their record, you will see that they belong to this specific facility. This is their address to the facility. You can place your booking. I think I'm just giving suggestions, right? You guys are going to jump on a call to actually work on that that workflow together, and I'll be on that call myself, right? I'll be on that call to ensure everything goes smoothly. So yeah, so that is for the specialist. And I gave an example earlier. I said, you have actions. So for example, let's talk about some of the actions we've mentioned. We'll just go over this right now. So for security, let's mention some of them. We can add more. We can add more, but let's focus on the important ones. So Idris is asking, are we to allow users choose their choice of doctor or the hospital assigned? I mean, my expectation was that we are to allow, I mean, they have to select their doctor of choice. I don't know if that's not the decision you've taken. Let me know. Adebola, please, what do you have to say about that?
So it's not, this one is not an area we've actually discussed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not an area we focus on because I guess it's two ways. One, if it's a hospital you're familiar with and there's a particular doctor you go to see, then I guess the user can have that option of picking the doctor and say, okay, I want to see doctor this for this. But if it's a new person and you're not so familiar with the doctors, then probably the admins will be able to advise if the doctor is available or not. Yes, availability. So it's, and then I don't know if and then another thing is if we're going to have the option of having them state the symptoms, the particular symptoms they're having, then the user may not be able to select the doctor because based on the symptoms listed, then it's the admin that will be able to identify, okay, oh, this is the specialist or the doctor that can, advise or treat based on these symptoms.
Okay, so I think we'll talk about that when we get there. But for me, I think we can even make it generic and it's not a big deal. So for example, when you are showing them the list of doctors, you can also have the first option to be, something generic so that they would understand that, okay, if I don't have any special doctor that I want, I can click on this and the hospital will provide someone that can attend to me based on my, symptoms or my ailments. I'm sure you understand me, Adebola.
Yes, I think it's clear.
Yeah, so we can put it that way so that for those people that have a preference, they can select the doctor. For those that don't have a preference, in terms of the selection, they can also go they can also go with the default, and yeah, they can go with the default. And the option to put the symptoms, of course, is optional. So if you put that, it's fine. If you don't put that, you can also proceed without it. So I think it's good to make it that dynamic. So for the security, I'm going to put in some list of actions, right? Sign up is an action. So we're going to be, needing the workflow. What would the sign up look like, right? In terms of, the journey, the user journey. So these are the actions. And yeah, so in a real environment at Ebola, this is what the PMs will do, right? Sign up, sign in. You don't really allow the UI UX guys make that decision by themselves. So you have a conversation with them, like a group call, and then you make this decision. You can even have the engineers on that call, but ensure that the call is organized, right? So the PM, you are in charge of this kind of session, and the others in different specializations have to join you to support you because you're not building it alone. Every session must have a lead, and in this kind of session, when working on the MVP, the PM is actually in charge. So sign up is an action, sign in is an action. What other action do we have under authentication?
Password, input password.
So input password is under the sign up, right? When you're creating an account, you definitely input your password.
Input your password.
So I think we should have forgot password. Okay, so someone said logout. Yeah, logout can be seen as a feature, but yeah, I think we can even leave it that way because logout is definitely a feature. I thank you very much, Fatima. So you might be considering that when I sign in, I should be able to sign out. But at the end of the day, it depends. I mean, signing out is compulsory, but sometimes some people or some platforms, you can choose to implement a workflow. When someone signs out, we want to be able to do this, behind the scenes. So let's just leave it at this for now. Someone said verify email. That's very correct. Verification of email. So verify email. When someone signs up, you want to be able to verify an email. Now, is that an action? Yes, that's an action because it's going to open up that page and it's going to wait for you to either go to your email and verify or get a pin from your email and type in that pin on a screen, on a screen that was shown to you. So verifying the email is definitely an action and should also have a journey map, right? For the user. So let's leave it at this. If you think you have more actions that can be performed during the authentication stage, let us know. So the next one is the authorization. Authorization. Okay, so now remember I said something earlier that a regular user should not be able to. Someone said keep me signed in. that is not a feature. That is just an option under the sign in, action, right? That's just an option you can add, you can append to the sign in. So keep me signed in itself is not a feature, or it's not an action. Sorry. So now for the authorization, this might look confusing, but let's look at it this way. I was explaining something. So you have a user who can actually place a booking, right? Now, if this user is not if this user does not own a medical facility, of course, you don't want them to be able to create a specialist. You don't even want them to see that screen, right? So authorization, we have to put in the first, we're going to have a create role. Now, we should be able to create a role, of course, an admin, the platform admin. The platform admin should be able to create a role, right? Because they should be able to create a role and say, okay, we have the role for a regular user, we have the role for a hospital or a facility admin. Let's just say that's the name we're calling it, right? So we can have a regular user. I don't know if I should, user, facility admin. So some of these terms I'm using, please, change them, because I believe you should change them, right? They are not looking very, they are not looking like, they are not looking like they fit into this solution, right? Like I call this facility admin. I think that there can be a better term for this. Regular user, of course, you don't want to refer to a user as a regular user. Maybe you can say patient user, if that's what, or default user, right? So default user, then the facility admin, which means a regular user, a default user can choose to create a facility, and if they are approved, they automatically become a facility admin. Now, meaning they have more roles, right? So on the application or on the back end, it would be built in such a way that if this is your role, then you should be able to do more things, right? But by default, this is the feature. So let's assume I built this platform. I think, yeah, medical admin, thank you. That's nice. So let's assume I built this platform. I should be able to create roles, or, I can choose to create a new account that have the ability to even create more roles, right? So which other role are we looking at here? We're looking at platform admin. Now, platform admin, is the administrator that should be able to handle things like creating roles, right? Basically, these are the admins in charge of managing the overall system in general. So you see that now we have different type of roles, right? So first, so create role is going to be a feature. It's going to be an action, and this action is going to be carried out by the platform admin. But what I'm showing you here is just the types of roles that we have, right? These are just the types of roles. So let me outline this as well. So I can say types of roles, and of course it's dynamic, which means it can change, right? So, but create role is an action. Now, someone said, will the platform admin have a dashboard too as well? Yes, but it's not a priority, right? It's not a priority, so we might not even do that right now. We can even create a role directly from the backend or a database. We are not doing that right now, but yes, they should have a dashboard where they will be able to see every single thing happening on the system, right? We're not doing that right now, as it is not a priority. So that's why I said that we are listing it out this way, because it's an MVP, right? So even if you think that verification of email is not important yet, we can take it off. Trust me, we can take it off if you think it's not important yet. So there's a platform that I and Amaka took our time to study. I think it's called Vendis or something. At some point when they started, when you create an account, your account is not activated automatically. You have to wait for someone in the company to activate your account for you. So we were saying, okay, that's quite weird. But of course, they built an MVP, and they did not think that is important, right? So they implemented it that way so that they will be able to have a personal, relationship or communication with you, the merchant who have signed up. And that is the way they wanted it to be. And, I think they have their reasons for that, okay? As they grow, they can always, change the workflow. So create role, and I think that is the most important part here, because that's the action for authorization. So maybe we can also have verify role. Now you might be asking, okay, why do we need to verify a role? So let's assume someone is trying to perform an action. You should first verify their role, and you should first verify their role and try to identify like who is this person? This person that is requesting for this data, who are you exactly? Are you an admin? Do you have the right to request for this data? Are you supposed to request for this data? Do you understand? Because if you don't make all these checks, it will be very difficult to really understand the kind of request that is coming in. So, for example, someone can forge my data on the front end and send this data to the back end. And if the back end is not verifying role, just because they saw that this user carries a role of admin, they automatically think that, okay, this person is an admin. So let's go ahead and fetch this data to this user, right? But what they should first do is to verify the role by probably collecting the person's email, right? Solomon Doe at Gmail, probably collecting the person's email first, going to their database, verifying the role of this person. Is this person a medical admin, a platform admin, or a default user? And based on the person's role, they can now go ahead and complete the request of the person, right? So of course, don't allow this part to confuse you, because basically most things about authorization is happening on the back end. So when the UI UX guys are trying to understand this workflow is basically going to be determined by the back end guys, right? But you need to understand that on every system, and I'm doing this because I want you to really understand that on every system, you should understand the roles and the authorization. It is very, 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 in fact, I can't stress that enough, right? This is actually how hackers gain access into your platform if you don't have a good authorization mechanism, because they can forge a data, send it to you, and you accept that data because you agree with that data without confirming, right? It is possible to confirm if this person is a user. That is one step. Another step is confirming, yeah, right, roles and permission falls under authorization. Exactly. You can even have groups, right? Roles, permission, groups, you can break it down into different levels, right? So if you just check and say, okay, this person is a user, grant the request, you can fetch secret, data, some kind of data that, confidential data that you are not meant to share with them. So a regular user can forge the data, send it to your backend, and the backend can, respond to that user, giving the user all the records of booking, whether in that hospital or maybe in every single hospital. If you don't implement roles and permissions, you won't be able to detect that. So this is, compulsory, and there are so many other things that can come in here. So for example, you said roles and permission, which means we can have create role, update role, delete role, right? Create permission, update permission, delete permission. So for now, we are just going to stick to create role and verify role. But you see, I just mentioned a bunch of others that you should have, right? Let's not, bug ourselves with that. As we proceed, we're going to come back here and we're going to add more if we have enough time. Remember that our sprints, the expectation is that our sprint will just be on a weekly basis. So let's not make it too extreme, okay? Now for the profile. For the profile, we said for the users and hospital admin, right? So when you say hospital admin, are you referring to the profile of the hospital, Adebola?
Hello?
Yeah, Adebola, I said when you say profile for the users and hospital admin, are you referring to the profile for the hospital?
No, yeah, there are two profiles for the users, that's the patients, and then a profile for the hospital admin also. When each person signs up to the platform, they'll create a profile for themselves. They're signing email and co.
Yes, of course. So the hospital admin is also a user, which means they have a profile already, right? So the hospital admin can fall under this, and we can say patient and admin,
Hospital
right?
admin. Okay.
Yeah. So, but I think we also need hospital profile, definitely now, right? Like the details about the hospital, exactly.
Hospital.
Yeah. So under the user profile, what are the actions? Of course, create profile.
Create profile.
Delete profile. Or update profile. I don't know. I don't think we
Update
should have,
update profile.
yeah, this is the important part. Okay. Then for the hospital profile page, now some of you might be asking, okay, so Idris, you're raising your hand. Go ahead and speak. Amaka, can you please allow him to speak if you cannot? Please be fast because we are not spending more than 10 p.m. on this call.
Okay, just
what I want to say. Yes. The patients trying to list out their symptoms, and probably the hospital they want to, probably I need a cardiologist for an instance, and probably the hospital I'm chatting up does not really have that doctor in their facility. Why not probably give in the hospital profile, we give the hospital the chance to list the services they have that they do have. So when the user is trying to search, they can search based on probably the hospital that has this particular facility. So that.
Yeah, so definitely we're going to do that. That's why we even have the option for the hospital profile. So when you say hospital profile, I think the hospital, or even let's call it the medical facility profile. So the medical facility would be able to say that, okay, this is our name, this is when we're registered, these are our details, these are our registration, the number that shows that we are, we are certified and we are registered to do this. This is what we focus in. Maybe I heard you mention cardiology. I don't know. I don't want to sound stupid, but this is what we do. These are major. This is the major thing that we treat people on, right? And these are the list of things. These are the list of services or the list of operations that we carry out here. So of course we're going to have that, and it's very important as a matter of fact, right? So let's put the actions first. For the create profile, we have for the user profile, we have create profile, we have update profile. We can also have delete profile, but we shouldn't delete profile. Instead, when a user deletes their accounts, the profile will also be deleted automatically. Every other thing will be deleted automatically, right? So they should be able to update their profile. Create profile is going to be automated. Once a user creates an account, the create profile is there, like it's created automatically. I'm just adding it here so that the backend guys will know that there should be a feature for this. Someone said location is necessary for the hospital profile. Yes, location is necessary. As a matter of fact, it's very necessary. So that is going to be, so let me explain something. Now we are working on the action. We are not working on the attributes yet. So the attributes is what will come in to say, okay, as a user trying to sign up, we need email, right? We need password, right? When they're signing up. For forgot password, we need, I can even say attributes. For the forgot password, we need email. Those are, you see, we started from a very high level and we're breaking it down, right? From the feature to the actions to the attributes, right? So this is something that, of course, you would determine. I can't determine this because I want you guys to, learn how to, come up with those specific details like email and password. You might even choose to say, okay, want them to even confirm password, right? So that, if you want to do that, that's not necessary, but if you want to do that, when you're trying to sign in, what do you want again, right? Email and password. So in order not to waste too much time, I'm just trying to, skip this for now, but definitely, these are those details. So for example, we said create a profile for the medical facility, right? So create profile for medical facility. For the attributes here, you are looking at a lot of things, right? A lot of, I can't even mention them right now. So of course, the name, the description, the location, the services rendered, whatever you want to call it, the registration number if that's necessary. I think it is. Are you guys getting me? How many PMs do we have on this call? Are we up to 5? Okay, anyways, I hope
I don't think they're up to 5. No, they're not up to 5.
Okay. So, but Adebola, you get the point I'm trying to pass here, right?
Yes.
So that you can also explain to them later. So when we say create a profile, this is an action. So you know that this action is going to be performed, right? And now that you know that this action is going to be performed, what are the types of fields or attributes that will be collected, when they are trying to create a new profile? And when they are collecting these details, is everything compulsory? So you see that you still get down here to understand, okay, so what are the compulsory fields, right? Compulsory fields and the optional fields. So you can choose to do it this way, or, you can also choose to do it this way. Name, you can say required. Description, maybe optional, right? And I don't want to do that for you on this call, but yeah, this is an option. This is a way you can also do it to structure things properly. Now, anybody collecting this document, once we've explained the first time, anybody collecting this document will understand that, okay, so security is a sprint, it's a module, it's a complete module. And under that module, we have sub-modules. We have authentication sub-module and authorization sub-module. within the authentication submodule, we should be able to sign up. These are the actions, right? So we should be able to sign up, sign in, forgot password, action, the sign out, and also verify email. Now, when we are trying to sign up, these are the details we need, the fields, we call it fields, right? These are the fields we need. When we are trying to sign in, these are the fields we need. Now, this is not complex at all, trust me, because by the time you start implementing this, you discover that this is just a step-by-step breakdown that would make it easy for anybody without, having to always come back to ask a bunch of questions that are not necessary. So forgot password, I think the only important thing there is the email. Okay, so when they put in this email, of course, the workflow is that you send them a code or something, and probably they have to enter that code. So sign out, I don't think you need anything for that action for now. All you have to do is implement, I don't think you need anything for anything for that. So verify email. What do you need for verify email? Basically, what you will need for verify email, let's say, is a token that was sent to their email. Of course, it can be a token, or maybe like a link, right? So they have to click on the link, right? So it can be a token or a link. And when it comes to authorization, when you are creating a role, what do you need to create a role? The backend guys will know how to do this. It can be role name, right? Role description, and the role ID. Those kind of things that they are needed, because that's how you'll be able to track each role, right? Now, when you are trying to verify a role, what are the things you would need to verify the role? Of course, quite simply, the email, the user email, right? Or the user ID. So it can be the user email, let's do it this way, or the user ID. So now I'm saying or because I want you to select, right? After selecting, you can choose to stick to email, or you can choose to work with ID. It's up to you guys, right? So if you're working with the email, of course, this is required. I think I skipped making some of these items required. So token is required. Now, anybody developing this, either backend or frontend will understand that, okay, these items are required, these items are optional. When you are signing in, of course, email and password is required. Man, we just have 6 minutes left. Okay, so when you're doing forgot password, email is required because, it can be optional, right? And authorization, we're not going to touch this. We're not going to really stress on this. This is just showing us the types of roles, but we're not going to really touch this for now. Let's call this, so for the profile, when you're creating a profile, what are the details for the profile? I can't really, list out everything, but, the UI UX guys, you understand that, okay, so what would the user profile be made up of, right? So you have maybe full name, or maybe you can choose to split it into first name, last name. I don't know if you want to be checking things like, a country of origin or something. So it's up to you, right? It's up to you, or even location, So there's so many other things you can think of adding there. These are the attributes, and you can choose to make them required or optional. And I don't know if you want to collect some kind of details that you can use to track a person. Yeah, so in every country, there are some details you can use to track the person. Some people work with things like NIN, and I don't know.
All these ones will be required. Their names and code will be required.
Okay. So yeah, so that is it. So you guys can brainstorm on this, of course, but we're not doing everything at once. I'm just trying to list out some of these items, like update profile. So when you're trying to update profile, of course, updating the profile, you would have to pass in everything here, but this time around, optional. This time around, right? So what exactly should be optional on this list? So let's pick. Let's assume that. Let's assume we have middle name, right?
Optional.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm saying everything here, you have to pass everything here, is because now you are trying to update. When you are trying to update, it cannot be compulsory, because you already have some records in there. You've already created a profile. You cannot update a profile when you've not created one, right? So now that you've created it, everything here becomes optional, because you can come in here and edit them, right? So you just have to choose, which one am I trying to edit? So anyone that you add any field to will be updated. The ones you don't add any field to, or the ones you don't even reference at all, will be left the way it was initially. So some people are listing out a lot of things, and I think you can always, list out those things on the Discord server so that you guys can work with those details. when creating a medical facility, this is very important. There are so many details that I don't know, that I believe should go in here. So of course, that is, I will leave that to you to make your research on that when creating a profile. Now, we should be able to disable a profile. I heard someone say that earlier. I think I heard someone say that earlier, right? Okay, so yeah, I think I have to first do this. Disable facility. Enable facility. Now, based on these things I have listed, I believe you should understand that the facility is not, the one doing every single action here, right? So, for example, the platform admin would be the one to enable, or disable the facility. We can also say we want the facilities to be able to do that themselves, right? So, someone said disable temporarily or permanently. Of course, when you guys get there, you would figure out how to sort that out if you want it to be temporal or optional. For a start, I don't think you need every single thing. For a start, I think you need to create facility. So disable facility, enable facility, delete facility, and I don't know, maybe you want to also have suspend facility so that when you suspend the facility, they can reach out to the platform admin, to lay their complaint or to, explain that their facility was suspended, and they don't know the reason for that or something. So medical booking, right? Medical booking. When someone is trying to, work with the medical booking option, of course, they are looking at create booking, update booking, rebook, right? I don't know, is that correct? Rebook or okay, so yeah, so create booking, update booking, rebook, and when they are trying to create a booking, of course, there are some details that would go into that. I'm not going to list that. I'm not going to list that here. I'm not going to list that here because we don't have time. And booking activity as well. So booking, are you creating a new booking activity? No. So basically, we should be able to create an activity, but that is going to be happening on the back end. There's no specific UI UX workflow for that. When you create a medical booking automatically, the booking activity is just going to carry a record saying a new booking was created, right? So the backend will be the one to do that. Do we need to list it out here? Yes. But do we need to create that on the front end, with kind of like a UI? No. So every single thing I've listed here, some of them would have a UI, some would not. The major thing is that we're listing the actions, right? So booking activity, the backend will be able to say, okay, someone just created a booking. Now, create a new activity for that. So create activity, then, updates activity. So are you supposed to be able to update a previous activity? No, right? So if somebody goes in there to change that, I made a mistake with my booking, let me update this record, we'll create a new activity telling the person that, okay, you created this activity at 12 a.m., at 12:30, at 12 p.m., at 12:30 p.m., you updated this activity, but we are not updating on our end, we're creating a new record. So we're trying to show you a record. Right? It's just like having a transaction history on a ledger or something. It should not be altered. Instead, a new version should be created so that you can be able to keep track of what you've done as regards that specific booking, right? So we always create activities. We don't update activities, neither do we delete activities. This is simply logging, all right? So for the specialist, we'll discuss that, during the stand-up tomorrow. Make sure you are there. I see we have about 50 people here. I think 48 now. Make sure you're in that session tomorrow because we are going to kick off with implementing. Once we're done, selecting a particular sprint, and of course the sprint we're working with for the first. I think our first sprint is going to be the security sprint, but of course I think the PM guys can also let us know. I believe the security sprint should be the first because you want people to be able to sign up, sign in, and do all these actions. So when we get to the medical booking area, more items will come in, right? When someone is booking, what are the details you need? Date, time, their name, their symptoms, and some of those things will be collected automatically from their profile, and some will be added by them, like the symptoms, right? And when they are updating, what are you collecting when you are updating, right? What are you keeping track of as well? When you are trying to rebook or updates, I don't know, maybe make you have a booking already, you have that booking record. You want to actually book that specific doctor again in that specific facility with the same symptoms, you can simply rebook instead of having them do that from scratch, right? So then for the specialists, the medical facility, they should be able to create a specialist, update a specialist, delete a specialist. We're not going to touch that now. And I hope you really enjoyed this session. So someone is saying the sign-in shouldn't have too many inputs on the initial sign-up. Exactly. So that is very correct. And that's what you see. I think that's from Yemi, right? That's what we did here. So we allow people sign up very fast, because the moment you ask them to enter a lot of details about their profile, trust me, you're going to lose 50% of your users. And so this is based on experience. Just ask them for email and password. Automatically, you have a user. And when that user sign-up process is complete, you can then prompt them to update their profile before they will be able to book, right? The major thing is you have the user and you have the user. So you can always reach out to them with email marketing. So, inform them and, advise them to update their profile. But if you give them a bunch of details at first, you are already scaring them away. So, yeah, I think this is fine for now. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful night and take care.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Marv. So I would like to continue on this tomorrow, maybe like during our stand-up sessions.
Yes. We'll do that. I will join that session. The PM and the UI UX will be together on a call. Every other person can join us so that we can finalize on this and then we can start building ASAP.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you. All right.